Hey everyone, this is Luminous coming guys with the Learning with Lumi series. The Learning with Lumi series is dedicated towards newer players, and we're going to take a look at things like positioning, item builds, skill builds, and the hero we're going to be doing today is Enigma. This video is going to be divided into two sections, so feel free to skip ahead if you're comfortable with Enigma's skill build. Although this is pretty clear to most of you guys already, the role of Enigma is to help your team to win a team fight. Whether that's going to be done through getting supportive items such as Mechanism or Pipe, or more commonly, landing that 4-second black hole on 3 or 4 hero. To make up for its devastating spells, Enigma has very low HP and mana pool throughout most of the game, and to play a successful Enigma, you have to watch your positioning almost perfectly. The biggest difference between Enigma and most other AoE specialists like Earthshaker and Tidehunter is his ability to go jungle or even lane in the most difficult lane. Demonic Conversion is a spell that allows you to destroy one of your creeps or the enemy creeps or even a neutral creep and create 3 Eidolons. These Eidolons will split up after 6 successful attacks on a unit. Because of this, Enigma can go into the jungling lane or could play into long lane and start denying like a Lich would do with his sacrifice. Once he's jungling with Eidolon, he can level up very quickly and come out unsuspectingly with a gank or even with a black hole. Demonic Conversion has a fairly long cooldown, a very high mana cost, and the Eidolons themselves aren't really tanky. This actually doesn't make too big of a difference in jungling because you will most likely have a fairly easy time jungling in there. But be careful using Eidolons in lane because the enemy heroes can easily last hit them for extra bounty. Malefice is actually a pretty awkward stun. It stuns you repeatedly, but it gives you 1 second in between each stun to actually do something. This actually doesn't matter too much against most heroes, but do be careful when you try to gank heroes such as Anti-Mage because they will have enough time for sure to blink out in between the stuns. Again, Malefice is pretty mana intensive as well, and it doesn't do too much damage, so there's no use to kind of spam it. Also, Malefice is not a really good stun until you get the level 4 version of it, and we'll talk about this as we talk about the exact skill build of Enigma. Midnight Pulse is a spell that makes enemy heroes lose percentage of their life by the second for a total of 8 seconds. And that might sound like a very strong spell, but in between magical resistance and the fact that the enemy heroes could simply run out of it, Midnight Pulse generally is a very unreliable spell unless you have a very long stun to back it up. Midnight Pulse does destroy trees and you could use it tactically to chase heroes through the forest, but be careful about the high mana cost scaling as you level it up. Enigma's AoE ultimate, the Black Hole, is a 4-second disable that does a minuscule amount of damage depending on the range. The most important thing about this spell is that it has a very long cooldown, it has an extremely high mana cost at level 3, and enemies can use items within the Black Hole. If the enemy wants to target you with items such as Hex or Cyclone, they will have to be facing you. That generally do not happen because Black Hole turns the enemy heroes back towards you. However, this also means that heroes can use Self-Cyclone or Force Staff to push themselves out of the Black Hole. Enigma is a very versatile hero and his skill build should adjust accordingly. If you're doing the standard jungling Enigma build, level your Demonic Conversion at level 1 and 3 and then max your Malefice by 7. The reason that we don't need to level more Demonic Conversion is because they time out anyways, and even though leveling up Demonic Conversion does speed up your jungling process a little bit more, a higher level Malefice is generally more useful to help in ganks and team fights. Of course, if you're playing some kind of pushing strategy or if you're laning the Enigma and you want to get the tower pushed down a little bit quicker, then by all means max Demonic Conversion at 7. What I'm trying to show here is that the skill build of Enigma doesn't have to stick to a single one and you could change according to whatever you need at the situation. For most other heroes in the game, you would take your ultimate spell whenever you can. Black Hole might be in a different situation. Whenever you level up the Black Hole, you are increasing a very minuscule amount of damage, and also you're only lowering 10 seconds of the cooldown, but you are increasing the mana cost by 100 every time you level it up. Enigma is already a very mana dependent hero, and depending how good your mana management is, sometimes it's actually better off to get your other spells or get stats. This also applies true to Midnight Pulse. Yes, it's a very damaging spell, especially if you combine it with the Black Hole. However, it is again very mana intensive. So if you're a beginner Enigma player, choose these skill builds according to how well your mana management is. Of course, most professional Enigma players always skill their Black Hole and always max their Midnight Pulse after their 2 other spells. By maxing these spells, these professional players use Enigma to deal the maximum damage they could do while doing a 4-second Black Hole. Alright, let's jump into our Enigma replay here, and our Enigma player today is going to be owner Shere. I'm going to just refer to him as owner for the rest of the game. And this is not a high skill replay. Let me preface by saying that. So if you're expecting some Gosu Enigma play, I suggest you actually check out a pro replay. Again, the point of learning with Lumi is looking at some lower skill replays and then learning from their mistakes and also learning from what they did correctly, which I will try to point out. Of course, I talked about earlier, Enigma is a fairly decent jungler in the early on, and this is actually a pretty good, decent jungling build because the Ring of Basaeus will give your Eidolons a little bit armor to tank, and also you definitely need a lot of clarities to fuel your, Eidolon usage. Of course, you don't have to start with this one. You can start with a Sage Mask, a couple of GG Branch to get your stats up, and then once you get up to go for a Ring of Protection, you ferry it with your chicken. But this one is definitely a decent build. This is actually a pretty good build. Now, of course, let's remind ourselves what Enigma is supposed to do. Enigma is supposed to be a hero that helps you win a team fight. Obviously, you could do that with using a Black Hole. You could get Mecha, get Pipe, and help that way. And we're going to see how Owner Shere is going to be doing in this game. And first, you can see the creep wave spawn, and he's going to be denying it. He could have done that a little bit earlier, maybe 2-3 seconds, a little bit earlier. And he's going to go back to the fountain. That effectively had to deny one creep on the top wave, and that's going to give Night Stalker a little bit of laning advantage because there's 4 creep on the other side. They're going to push a little bit harder, and also these 2 heroes over here won't be getting as much EXP. And also, pretty good micro here from Owner. He's going to send these over here to check out the rune. It's a little bit late to check the rune, but hey, a little bit extra information is not bad. So Owner Shere doing pretty nice job so far. And what he's going to do next kind of blew my mind. Of course, I watched this replay several times before actually doing this. Generally, when I do jungling Enigma, I just start hitting the level 1 camp, use my Eidolons, start doing work, doing a little bit micro if necessary. But he's going to do a pull here. I'm going to pause the time here. We're at 53 seconds, and that's actually the first time he could have demonic conversion and enemy creep. I want you to remember this figure in your head, 53 seconds. And the important thing about this 53 seconds thing I'm going to bring up later on is what I want to talk about is mana management. Mana management, if you watch the first Learning with Lumi, I had a Lich replay. And the Lich player in that replay had a little bit of trouble in terms of managing his mana. At some point in the game, he did not have enough mana to do a Chain Frost. And that's kind of a big deal. Enigma is, again, if you guys watched that skill discussion thing, he has trouble with mana. He has trouble with mana in the jungle. He has trouble with mana in a team fight. He just have mana trouble all the time. And I am going to spend a good deal of time talking about mana management. As you can see that he is doing a pull. He stacked it, and then he's going to do a pull right here. Now, a couple things I want to point out. He did not have his Ring of Basaeus turned off. As you see the enemy heroes coming in. He did not have the Ring of Basaeus turned off. He's actually not last hitting perfectly. He's actually missed a couple of last hits. And these are pretty big deal because when you're doing a pull, these creeps worth so much gold, and now he's actually gave it away to Cropless. That's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is actually you do want to turn off your Ring of Basaeus when you're doing this pull. And the reason being so, well, one of the biggest reason about doing this pull is you actually want your creeps to die. Yes, you do want your creeps to die. And when these creeps do die, the enemy team is getting less EXP. That's one of the huge benefit of getting a pull. Actually, he did a pull, and then it worked out in such a way that these creeps are gonna die, and he's gonna hit level 3. Yes, he's gonna hit level 3 without casting a single spell. And when I first saw this, I was like, whoa, this is really cool, because I could jungle to level 3, and once you get level 3, your jungling process gets so much easier as you pick up the second level of Eidolon. So I'm gonna pause right here as he's gonna hit this camp on the south. From 52 seconds or 53 seconds to 246, let's round out a little bit. There's about 120 seconds here, 2 minutes of time, where Ring of Basaeus and Clarity actually did nothing. I just kind of want you to process that in your mind. These 2 items actually did nothing. Of course, yeah, there's plus 6 damage, which was cool. It gave him the armor, which it didn't matter really too much. It gave his creep armor that actually hurt him. Again, you want your creeps to die as you're pulling. So these 2 items actually did nothing. I just want to point that out. So when those 2 items actually do nothing, why do you actually want to start out with them? And that's kind of the rhetorical question that I had in mind. You don't want to start with this item. If you're planning ahead and if you know you're going to be doing this a stack pull kind of thing, there's no reason to actually start out with Ring of Basaeus unless you actually want the plus 6 damage, which that's a decent argument. Now obviously I know what Owner Shere is going to be doing next. He's going to be rushing a mechanism next. If you know you're going to be rushing mechanism, hey, start out with a chainmail. Hey, start out with 2 GG branches. And you viewers out there might be like, whoa, that's really dumb. Why would you ever want to start out with a chainmail? Well, starting out with the Ring of Basaeus didn't do anything. And the fact that as you're moving from here to here, you could have used your courier and sent yourself whatever necessary item you could have done. And this is a recurring theme that I'm gonna bring about. The more important thing that I'm griping about here is that he had a mana regeneration item, but he did not use any mana, so he didn't regen anything. In essence, he have actually wasted mana regeneration item. You kind of get what I'm saying here. He had a mana regeneration item, and he wasn't even using it. And to me, then there's no need to get that mana regeneration item at that point. I think if you guys are StarCraft players out there, you guys would kind of get what I'm saying. Sometimes if you don't need to build that unit, don't build that unit. It's kind of like if you're building that unit just to stand there and do nothing, don't build that unit. So a little bit of StarCraft reference here. So it's cool that he did one pull. He hit level 3. He's supposed to be able to jungle now. And I actually do not like the second pull real fast. And I'm going to talk about why. First things first, if we look at over here, our friend Night Stalker doesn't have a stout shield. He has opted for Crawling Blade, which is his choice. He started with a Tango and Self, and now he's completely out of his restorative. You can see that the tower has taken a little bit of damage, and it's going to take a lot more damage as he's doing more and more stack pulls. And also, he's going to put himself in danger as you see Coropolis and Sven is going to be coming around. And normally when you're doing a pull by yourself, you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm doing my own thing. But also, please keep in mind that when you're doing the pull, you're really messing up your teammates. Because, hey, when this creep wave dies, the next creep wave is going to be under enemy tower. It's going to have a lot of difficult time lasting. When the next creep wave comes, it's going to push as well because your tower is going to be focusing on these creeps. The creep equilibrium here is going to be messed up. As a melee hero soloing top, you do especially want the creep wave just to be here. So your teammate would really like to control the creep equilibrium very much so, and by you doing the pulls here, you're really messing up. Now sometimes to mess up the creep equilibrium is a good thing, especially when you want to push. But in this case here, Night Stalker, he just want to last it, he just want to level up. I'm sure he doesn't actually want to push. So that's actually a really terrible thing to the Night Stalker. So please keep that in mind as you're doing the pull, and I don't really think that owner Shere is keeping that in mind. Also, owner Shere's gotta be worried when he's getting ganked. And she's like, Coropolis is able to get really close up to him, and he's not really paying attention as this Sven is gonna be just walking around, and he's just worrying about lasting, and he's gonna take a Storm Hammer to the face, another nuke to the face, and he's gonna give up first blood. Now, obviously, right here it worked out really nicely because Eidolons and these 8 billion creeps were able to do a crazy creep block, and Night Stalker got a double kill. I don't want you to look at that and be like, oh yeah, man, it worked out fine. Let me do that too. Please don't do that. Always, when you see enemy heroes coming, I don't think he was watching, but you should be watching when you're jungling, because especially even if you're not doing any pulls, even if you're just jungling here, if you sense hero missing off the map, that means that they are going to come to gank you. They might be coming to gank mid, but chances are they're going to come to gank you. And generally, when you're jungling with Enigma, you're going to be low on mana, and you're going to be low on HP. So that's a huge deal. Please watch the mini-map as you're jungling. Alright, I skipped a little bit ahead. Now we are in 6 minutes in. And you can see that owner Shere has got himself a buckler, and he is going to be joining a gank momentarily soon. Now I want to focus, he's been continuously do the stack pull. And you can see that actually his tower is now getting under sieged. And he can be going to the lane to grab a little bit of XP because our Night Stalker friend's been doing a little bit of roaming. But he's not doing so. So that's the first thing. If you find yourself a free lane, sometimes your top solo will die. Just go in the lane, get that free XP. But now we're going to see him participate in this gank. And there's a couple of important things for us to point out here. If you want to maximize your damage, use your demonic conversion, because they actually do some damage. We see a fear goes on. He's going to use a Malphite. That's definitely going to ensure the kill. I think he was trying to get something against his fan as well, but that's not going to happen. You can say he did not summon, he did not use the demonic conversion right there. He could have, and then that would have done maximum damage. Would that have mattered in the gank? No, it would not have mattered at all. But it's just a good practice to get into, because demonic conversions, yes, they do a crap ton of damage. Now, one thing I want to point out about his buckler, well, I'll talk about a buckler here. Let's talk about his micro here, or to better put, the lack of micro. That is going to affect your jungling for quite a bit. And you might be thinking, well, I have Eidolons, they're going to split, they're going to heal. Does it really matter? Yes, it really does matter. Let's go back to what our goal of Enigma is. Our goal is to join team fight and help our friends, or help our teammates win a team fight. And we do it by, let's say, completing the mecha, like what owner is doing here, or we get a quick blink dagger. Whatever item might be, he's working towards it, right? As you're speeding up your jungling process, that means your team fight you could team fight faster. I mean, that's an easy concept, right? If you're jungling better, that means you could team fight better, and that means you could assist your teammates better. Because right now, Owner's mostly letting his team play 4v5. In fact, he's helping the enemy team a little bit. He's helping them to push this tower. It's at half HP. It's taking quite a bit of damage. And his Night Stalker is not having the best farm because, again, the pool really hurt him. So right now, you're mostly playing 4v5, and you're not helping the team. He's working towards a mecha, which is great. But he could be microing a little bit better with his Eidolons. And yes, speeding up your jungling process is so much. And also, when you're spending the time in the jungle like this, when you're half HP, when you're really out of mana, and you don't know where the enemy is, he sees them now. If he's looking, he will see them now. And he'll be feeling safe. But as soon as these guys disappear off the map, you want to be somewhat careful because you don't know where exactly he is. You can see that another creep was not microed and it died. And also, the reason he has gone for this buckler first is so that he could use the buckler and give his creep +2 armor. Which might sound like a great idea. Yeah, man, we're going to give our lines +2 armor. That means they could tank more. And that means, great, speeding up our jungling process, right? That's actually wrong. He's actually slowing down his jungling process. Because buckler, yes, it's going to give them +2 armor, which is great. But you will get that +2 armor if you would micro your Eidolons. Whenever your Eidolons attack 6 times, they will split anyways. And when they do split, so we might have a gank coming, but he's so lucky. And looks like they're going to just walk by each other. As their Eidolons split up, they heal up anyways. And that +2 armor actually don't end up doing anything. And the buckler actually slows down his jungling process. You can see that he's waiting here for 170 mana. Guess what? Buckler costs 10 mana to use, and I think he used it at least 2-3 times so far. If he haven't used it right now, he will be able to, start working on this creep cam if he wants to do so. And he's actually gonna do yet another creep pull. And I already sound like a broken recorder with creep pulling. It's okay to do it sometimes, but as you keep doing it, it really messes up the creep equilibrium. It really messes up Night Stalker's farm. You're making him tank more damage than he really wants to, and also you're making your own tower tank more damage than you want to. One key important thing about jungling, and for any jungling heroes, you're still part of a team. You might be doing it most of these solo, but you're still part of a team. So treat like you're playing a team. If your action is hurting the team, then it's more benefiting the team. Don't do it. Don't do it. Of course, if you look at skill build, he's gonna go for Malefice max at 7, Demonic Conversion 2, and picking his ultimate at level 6. I mean, fairly standard build here. All right, we are back. Skipped ahead a little bit more, and we are 12 minutes in the game. We have our mechanism completely finished, 150 gold in the bank. So let's pick up a TP scroll as well. Great. One of the most important thing about team fight hero is, hey, actually be in the team fight, and having TP scroll will allow you to do that. Meanwhile, we did lose our top tower to the top to a couple guys pushing. Not that big of a deal. We see kind of a small skirmishes breaking out mid lane here. Weaver already got brought down. Enigma Eidolon being summoned is gonna walk in for a very big black hole. No, he didn't. Probably a fairly good choice because, hey, there's silence that he's up against. He pops a mecha to keep himself alive. Tinker comes around and brings him really low. Nice Stalker running around. So we have a lot of team fight going on. We can see after that engagement, we are really out of mana at this point. We don't have enough mana for the black hole, so there goes our 4-second AoE stun. And also we don't have HP anymore. What the Venge is going to be nice is actually going to give Owner Shere a salve. It's going to do it. There you go. And I want you guys to watch what he's going to do for the next 30 seconds, 20 seconds. I'm not going to say anything. Let's just watch. So you guys, can you guys answer the question? What has Enigma done? Nothing. He has done nothing. In fact, he actually has taken a farm away from Weaver. And sometimes we're gonna be in this situation where you see 3 or 4 guys on the other side of the river. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna push your tower, and of course you want to defend your tower, so you plan 2-3 guys here, and nothing happens. What you should be doing in that case is, hey, go back in the jungle and start farming up. We're going to see a little bit of engagement up top here. He does have the mechanism. He has decent mana. Keep in mind that once you okay, real fast, let's pause. Black hole costs 260. The Malefice costs a 160, that's 360 already, and Mechanism costs 150. We already do not have enough mana to use all three of our very important spells. Keep that in mind as you're going into the team fight. And I don't know if owner Shere is doing that. He's going to find himself a Tinker coming around. We don't actually want to use a Black Hole just for one hero because the cooldown is very, very long early on. And they're going to do a couple of right clicks and get the kill there. Nice, nice. So earlier when I was saying here, what was Enigma doing here? Nothing. And when you're doing nothing as Enigma, go back in the jungle and start lasting. Now obviously if you see 4 people barreling down your tower, do stay back, do stay very far back, and then assist your teammate whenever necessary. Enigma's gonna pick up a Illusion Rune, and I believe he's gonna just go all the way back home now. Yes indeed, he's gonna just walk all the way back home. One huge thing about mana management is use all your mana before you actually go home, because you're gonna fill it up all anyways. And obviously if you're Storm Spirit, it's gonna be a little bit different because you want to have mana all the time to regen quickly. But for the most part, for 99% of general cases, use your mana before you go home. So yes, he's just gonna walk all the way back home. You can see that he has 270 mana here. Hey, summon an Eidolon here, summon an Eidolon or here. That means you're earning yourself an extra 100 to 150 gold. Yeah, Luminous, does that matter? Yes, it does matter. That means a quicker to your boots. That means an extra TP scroll. That means an extra pair of wards. As a support player like Enigma, the way that he's playing it, every bit of extra gold, like you don't ever know when you're gonna get farm again. So whenever occasion you can, just use the mana. Not a big deal. Not a big deal, right? Alright, we're gonna jump into this team fight momentarily. We're 16 minutes into the game. 9-4 in favor of the enemy team. And owner Shere is right here. We're gonna be chasing an Anti-Mage, a Croblis, and a Sven. We have a couple guys. You can see that we haven't used any of our spells. Again, walking into the team fight, very important to ask yourself, do I have enough mana to do my thing? We did just cast a Malefice, and that's it. We don't have any Arcane Boots on our team. No one has Arcane Boot. So we are sitting with just enough mana to do one thing. Whether that's going to be we could do both Mechanism and Malefice when it cools down, or we could just do Black Hole. That's it. That's it. Let's keep that in mind as we're walking into this team fight. Enigma's going to be chasing, waiting for that cooldown of that Eidolon. And right here in this situation, you should stop. You should stop. You have backup coming in the form of a Hasted Vengeful Spirit. You have the form of a Enigma, excuse me, a Night Stalker coming in. As a Enigma, you always stay back. As an Enigma, you should never be the focus of fire in the beginning of a team fight, especially when you have such tanky heroes such as Weaver, who can use time lapse. You have a Night Stalker and a Venge hasting in. You should never put yourself in a dangerous position like in the center of everything. And our player here will do that, and he is going to be in trouble. He's going to run up ahead. Anti-Mage blinks in. No more mana to do anything. Black Hole is done. He cannot even use Mechanism, and you just have to run at this point. Well, Anti-Mage will catch up to you and will get you killed. So a couple important things to point out in that team fight. I should have put it in half speed, my bad. Thing is, as Enigma, you stay back. And that was a very close AoE clump. Let's say if the Anti-Mage, or excuse me, if the Venge took the initial barrage of the fight, if the Night Stalker took the initial barrage of the fight, you walk in, you drop the Black Hole. That was a 4-second AoE stun on everyone. But that was not the case because Enigma showed himself up. Anti-Mage blinked in, 1 mana break, cancel his mana, and he was done. Alright, we're now 23 something into the game. Our Enigma just picked up our Blink Dagger, great. And our TIE Hunter also picked up a Blink Dagger. And normally I would be like, yeah man, this is a great situation to be in. Our AoE heroes have their blinks. Perfect, perfect. But what is the key thing that's been reoccurring the whole time? Well, our Enigma never really have enough mana to cast his stuff in a team fight. Now of course after a couple levels, after level 11, he's a little bit better now. And the thing is, I personally don't think you need to cast your I don't think you need your Blink Dagger to cast your Black Hole. Simply because, well, TIE Hunter could just blink in and use his Ravage, which is coming down off cooldown right now. And when he's blinking the Ravage, you could simply just walk in and get her and get your black hole off. So you might be thinking, well, instead of the blink dagger, what am I gonna do? Well, you could be getting an arcane boots, not only to help yourself, it's gonna help your team as well. And you will never really run into mana issue. Of course, you want to still get your blink dagger in just a bit after arcane boots, I suppose. And that's going to be a little bit better for your mana usage, in my opinion. Now, quickly point out a skill build. Yes, he did not level up Black Hole. I mean, someone would call this as a mistake, but again, like what I said earlier in the skill description, leveling up Black Hole double the mana cost. Yes, increase your mana cost by no, not double, but increase your mana cost to 300, I believe. Decrease the cooldown by like 10 seconds, and it deals a little bit extra damage. It's not that big of a deal to level it up. He has opted for a little bit of Midnight Pulse, which is fine. I haven't seen him cast it yet, but that's okay. So right now, our Enigma friend seizes our Tinker. Here's how the gank should happen. Enigma should blink in right here, get a Malphus off, summon Conversion, Demonic Conversion, and then just auto attack. He could drop off his Midnight Pulse if he need to, but I feel like it's a waste of mana. That's what he should be doing. Let's see how this fight will be developing. Enigma walks in, no blink. There is a Malefice. Where's the Demonic Conversion? Where's the Demonic Conversion? There is no Demonic Conversion. He's taking a lot of damage from everyone else. Stormbolt goes on, Arrow goes on. And our Weaver's going to end up dying. And the Tinker survives with 15 HP. He is end up going to go up to the... Yeah, he's going to go down to the bug. Really nice Black Hole getting to hero. Where's a Ravage follow-up? Where's a Ravage? No mana. He gets silenced. Croesus goes down. Sven's going to end up going down. There is a Ravage having the mana to do that right now. And that's going to be a successful team fight. Great. After the team fight, we see a... He's going to end up going down as well. Yep. We see a team wipe on the enemy team. And we lost 2 hero. Any situation, be like, yeah, man, that's a great team fight. We all did great. But if you slow it down and look at everyone's mistake, there was a lot of stuff, particularly that Enigma could have done. First of all, should have blinked in. Tinker should not have lived as long as he lived. That would not have forced the Weaver to chase that deep. Took a Stormbolt to the face, and Weaver died. He did not have time to time-lapse, and I do believe that's because he chased too deep. Now, of course, Enigma, the more important thing is, yes, he did use his mechanism, and that was great. If he didn't have used mechanism, that would have been really, really poorly done. But you did spend 2,100 gold on this item, so do use it, closing the distance to have Tinker have less reaction time. And of course, use the Eidolons, use your spells. In that team fight, he used Malefice and Black Hole, and that's it. He had a lot of mana left over. There was no mana issue there because he joined the team fight with full mana. So, more of that gank, the moral of that story is, well, make sure you have enough mana to cast your spell, and he definitely did. Use your spells when you have the mana to use your spell. And that might sound like really dumb, but that's exactly what we saw here, the mistake by Owner. Of course, Tie Hunter definitely made a huge mistake that allowed our Enigma friend to die because he had 6 magic wand charges before. He did not use it. He did not have mana for the Ravage. He got silenced, and our friends died. That was Tie Hunter's mistake, but we could have done a little bit better when we are playing there as well. Alright, we're going to be watching how this team fight is going to progress, and I do want you, in this particular team fight, focus on Enigma's positioning. That is going to be key. Enigma's positioning. You know that it's just a couple of seconds after that last team fight. You can see that he's standing in front of the entire team. Yes, he's standing in front of the entire team. There's a swap coming in right now. Crowbless doing his thing. Anti-Mage coming in from the background. Couple of right clicks. Mana Void double kill goes to the Anti-Mage. And, you know, what follows, we don't care. Ravage really poorly used because there was no follow-up. So, would that have mattered? No, not at all, because we didn't have Black Hole. But it is very, very important, like I mentioned earlier, Enigma, just stay back. You have to stay back, especially when you have Blink Dagger. There's no reason to put yourself in such a forward position. You should never be the first one in a team fight. Never. Unless you get a 4-man Black Hole or 5-man Black Hole and there's no response. Like, that's a very rare case. And obviously he did not have cooldown for the Black Hole, so shouldn't be so far in the front. Now, obviously, Anti-Mage came in from the back, and that there wasn't much he could have done anyways. But that was a prime example of hugely being out of position, and that's something if you're playing Enigma, you should never do. Stay back, stay back. That's a very key thing. Now, second thing about Black Hole, and also just what we saw here with the Ravage. Yes, was that a good Ravage? He stunned 4 people. Was that a good Ravage? No, that was a really poor Ravage, because even though he stunned 4 people, there was no follow-up who's actually going to deal the damage after the Ravage, right? And that's something that every single big AoE ultimate hero should be careful about. Even if you draw a perfect Black Hole on 4 hero, it doesn't matter if no one's going to follow up. That is a key thing. Now we're going to see yet another gank happening here, and looks like they are going to break off Tinker, but here comes the cavalry. What is going to happen? We have the stun going off, and we're going to have a Black Hole, Black Hole, Black Hole, and he gets picked off. Here's the key thing about this Black Hole. It is a 190-second cooldown at level 2, and that's long. That's really, really long. And that's over 3 minutes. And the thing is, if you know gonna die, don't drop the Black Hole. That might sound really duh, but a lot of players, whether it's gonna be done subconsciously or just by reaction rate, they just do it. Sometimes I'm a victim of doing that as well. Now obviously you're gonna see some pro games, and in some Enigma they're gonna survive with 2 HP, and they're gonna drop a spectacular 4-man Black Hole just in time, and he's gonna blink out even after, and that's great. But if you're beginning with the Enigma play like he is doing right now, if you're so clustered, if you're such low HP, it's okay to just die, because, well, without the Black Hole, you're going to be useless for the next 3 minutes. That's how we look at it. Enigma without Black Hole is going to be purely a useless hero. A couple seconds after, it looks like someone on the Dire side has called out a Roshan attempt. So pretty good move. You see that he's helping the team by getting pair of Sentry Wards. I personally would have gotten pair of Observer Ward, because we could argue, which one's a little bit more important, but I never really like doing Roshan in the dark. So as to prepare for Roshan, I probably would have dropped an Observer Ward right here. That was going to give us so much sight as they're coming in. But Sentry Ward and making sure the enemy team don't have sight is great as well. However, you don't know if they had a ward here. You definitely don't know if they have a ward here. To make sure you have complete Sentry Ward coverage, dropping one, drop one here. That's going to see right here, and right here. That's going to cover all these 3, and then you could drop another Sentry Ward right here, and that's going to cover right here and right here. But it doesn't matter, there was no ward. But if you're making sure if you're playing support on the Dire side in the future, if you're doing a little bit of Sentry Warding, here's the one you should put, because that's going to see all the 3 common war spots, and then another Sentry Ward like maybe over here. Cool, we got the Roshan basically for free, and here's what really I like about the play. He immediately popped a Smoke of Deceit. Great. And then this is not good. Half your team is over here getting a gank off, and Enigma not doing anything over here. As Enigma, you stick with your team and you stay the heck back. And guess what? Let's say if there's a big team fight breaking out right now, like over here, what is Enigma gonna do? He's not gonna be here on time. And we're gonna watch exactly what's gonna happen with this team fight. And actually, I am gonna slow it down because the team fight is gonna happen. Select on our Enigma friend. Great. We're gonna see Tie Hunter walk in. He's gonna find 2 or 3. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect Ravage. There we go. 4-man Ravage. 5-man Ravage. Is that a good Ravage? No. Terrible Ravage, because, well, who is gonna do the damage, right? They're trying to do as damage as possible. If our Enigma friend would have followed, he would have blinked in with the 4 or maybe 3. Well, really good Black Hole, right? You could had time to drop the Midnight Pulse. You could have time to do whatever he want to do. Where is our Enigma friend right now? Right here. Because he took a little bit of excursion top. He wasn't following his teammate. Now you could be saying, well, that's the fault. That's the fault of these guys. They're really just jumping the gun. That's, they're not waiting for their team. And that's the logical argument. These guys should have waited for the team. But also, Enigma should have stuck with this team. So you cannot just blame on one side of the argument when Enigma clearly wasn't there. Great. So let's for example, for a moment, imagine that Enigma was here. He was here. He's blinking, 4-man Black Hole after a Ravage follow-up. Wouldn't that be perfect? That would be perfect if he had a Black Hole on cooldown. Does he have Black Hole on cooldown? No, he doesn't. Well, we're selected on the wrong hero. He has 23 seconds left because, well, he used Black Hole here for pretty much no reason. So 2 key mistake right here was, well, he was a little bit out of position. No, he was a lot out of position, terribly out of position. And he did not have his black hole because, well, he simply used it in a very untimely manner. He's going to drop his spell, Midnight Pulse. That's going to be great. He uses Mecha, which is perfect. There's nothing really much Enigma could have done. And you could kind of see the big difference of Enigma having a black hole and Enigma that does not have a black hole. He dropped off a Malefice, a Midnight Pulse, a Mecha, which was great for the team, but the team clearly would have loved for a 4-second disable. So 2 key interesting lessons, 2 very important lessons. Now he has a black hole, great. Does he have mana to use it? No arcane boots. So key lessons here: don't use a black hole if you know you can't get it off. If you're gonna gamble on it, it comes down to experience. I mean, some of the best Enigma players in the world, such as DCC, they gamble on those black hole and they pay off. That's great. But if you mess one up, that can be the game. That was a game-changing team fight over there. If we had a black hole, if he was in position, and if he had a black hole. So, owner, if you're watching this, please watch your positioning and also watch your mana usage. Of course, what we're gonna see here is the Dire team is gonna just, you know, do a little bit of tower push, tower exchange, great, you know, all that stuff. Okay, we're gonna be back in the game, and this is gonna be the last scene that we're gonna be watching. Eventually, the Dire team does win this team fight, and what we're gonna see is probably one of the best black hole I have seen in a long time. We're gonna keep it at half speed. Our Enigma friend still, oh no, he just finished arcane boots, great. That's gonna give him, look at how comfortable his mana pool right now. We're gonna have a team fight breaking out, and this is how Enigma should play. You stay back as the team fight's breaking. It should be in a little bit of position, and we're gonna blink in for a perfect black hole. There you go. And unfortunately, our enemy here walked in there. Priestess couldn't do anything aside from that Ravage follow up, and that was it. That's the difference between having the cooldown, the mana of casting a black hole on 4. Having your teammates to actually tank the initial barrage of the spells, because Weaver tanked, I think Venge tanked a little bit in the beginning, and then as they clump up, let them know who is boss with that black hole. Ravage was there to nicely follow himself, and that is the game. That is the game, and well, there's nothing really too much to say about it. So there's definitely a lot of mistakes I pointed out in only Shere's play. And that's not for us to say, hey, look at this player, that's just really bad play. That's for us to learn, hey, this is something that we should watch out for, and sometimes this is something that we could work on the next time. So very key things I want to summarize. Once again, in the beginning, keep in mind that Enigma is one of the best junglers out there. So you don't have to do any pulls. If you want to do pulls, that's okay. Don't get crazy about it to get your top tower taken down. Don't get your Night Stalker without any farm. Don't get too crazy about pulls. When you're jungling, please micro your Eidolons. Yes, it will matter. It will speed up your jungling process. And when you do speed up your jungling process, you get your mechanism faster. You get your blink dagger faster. And whatever else you need. Be sure to manage your mana perfectly. When you go into team fight, when you're just walking around doing nothing, look at your mana pool. Look at how much your spells cost. Will I have enough to cast all my stuff? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. And there's one thing that owner Shere did really good for the most part is he always kept up TP scroll. He was able to TP in most fights and join his teammates. And the only fight that he was not really actively participating in was this fight over here that I pointed out. Sure, it's kind of the mistake of a Ravage friend. Dropped it off, no follow-up because they ran too far ahead. But again, he was over here kind of smoking, doing nothing. And again, reiterate, please, when you don't have, if you know the black hole is not going to hit, don't use it. It's over a 3-minute cooldown. It is insane. If you drop it, you're going to be done. And that could have been the Rax team fight right there if they had a perfect 4-man black hole, 3-man black hole. But hey, you make it one up. You make it up right here. That's fine. So that's all the things I want to point out. There was a lot of stuff that we could have worked on. Owner, but also there's a lot of stuff that we learned, so I'm really happy for that. Thank you to owner for sending me this replay, and I know a lot of people in the comment section be like, oh man, this player is really blah blah. I mean, I'm gonna just say this once, I really hate those comments. Everyone that's commenting believe that they, oh man, such a good player. I'm a lot better than this player. I think if I really scrutinize the replay and watch this slow-mo and point out every single mistake, just as many other players would have commented and be like, oh man, this player is bad. Just as many players would have looked at your replay and be like, oh, you're so bad. So keep in mind that not all of us are pro like you, and some of us are starting new. So keep that in mind as you are typing your comments, because again, these are supposed to be educational replay. I hope that after watching these replays, some of us learn how to play Enigma better. Again, 3 key points: mana management, be in position, which is stay back, and also have enough mana, or excuse me, have control of your cooldown, especially with the black hole. That's very, very key thing. All right, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this Enigma Learning with Lumi series. And I'll be coming back with more. Oh, before I go, really huge shout out to people in Something Awful forums, from Reddit, also on Play Dota, and in various forums that gave me really good feedback. You can see how this one is formatted really, really differently. I don't know if this is the correct way to do it, but let me know. Let me know whether you like this format a little bit better. Let me know if you like the first format a little bit better, or if you want to see something else. Like I'm always up to change the formats. So that's great. And of course, I'm looking for more replays to be submitted. You can submit that to LumiSoFun@gmail.com. The only thing I need from there is your match ID, the match ID of the game. Yes, how you did with the game. You know, give me like, oh, you know, my final score was XXX. I had such creep kills. The game was so long, so short, and 3 to 5 sentence in terms of what you want me to look for. That's kind of how you submit. Again, LumiSoFun@gmail.com. And that's it. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, as always, Luminous signing off. See you guys.